show, 5 Stripe fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome to another episode of 5 Stripe Weekly, and Atl Utd, they defeated the Seattle Sounders 2-0 at Lumen Field. For those of you that stayed up for MLS After Dark, you were treated to a really good result. A pretty decent performance for the most part, for at least maybe the first 25-30 minutes. But we're treated to also a Giorgos Giakoumakis brace, a couple of headers. We'll pick them out of the bunch in terms of which one was our favorite as well. But Michael, what was your thoughts on the match?
Just a quick summary for me real quick before we get into the nitty gritty. It was overall, 3 points on the road against a good Western Conference opponent is tremendous, especially at this point in the season where we need to put our flag in the ground, stake a position to launch a comeback and to make a playoff push. We seem to have started off on the right foot. There's a couple of loose ends. There's a couple of issues that crept through a bit. Luckily, the chips fell where they fell. Seattle did not come up lucky, and we were able to keep a clean sheet against a team that seems to be going through a bit of a rough patch, but you got to win those games, and we did. So overall, very happy, 3 points away. There are some warning bells going, when we go up against a team like Nashville next week. It could be exploited, could be exposed. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's not that bad. They shore some things up. Maybe a new player comes in, makes a stamp on the game, and we can maybe each out I won't give us our score predictions too early. You'll have to wait to the end for that. But I think it might be good. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it is that. It's they're a team that, if you paid attention to our preview with Rave Green TV and Cheyenne, he pretty much outlined how, Seattle Sounders, their place in the West right now is a little bit of a red herring. They're in fourth. They look like they're, a playoff team to a degree, at least by numbers. But like us a little bit, it's a little bit fool's gold. And that's, there's issues abound. And while we addressed a good number of ours, maybe not in defense per se, albeit the results would show something different, I think we probably were a little lucky on the night. And it's one of those things where Seattle and their fans and at their stadium, it hasn't exactly been a fortress for them. And it's something that's Cheyenne of Rave Green TV even mentioned that for the likes of RSL, likes of the San Jose Earthquakes, they have kind of spurred their form into even better form by letting teams beat them at home. And that's I think 3 losses in I think as many games at home. That's not good. So we kind of lucked out a little bit in some regard that they were hitting the post as well, but we were at least in game state able to get the early lead and capitalize on our, when we boss the game that well and basically look like a completely different team from the first part of the season. It is, very encouraging. Of course, as well, that starting lineup looked different. It was a 4-man back line with the center back pairing of Miles Robinson and Luis Abram, and then the fullbacks with Wiley and Lennon. And that midfield was set to Muyamba getting his first start, but also a first start for Sean Da Silva at left wing, the new boy from Dijon. And on the right wing, Mosquera, and of course in the middle, Almada and Giakoumakis up top. But I think it was, something that just looked completely more energetic, more like something that we wanted to see, more one-touch play, more verticality, and Muyumba just doing really, really well, doing kind of everything, all action, winning his duels, and a player that's, small sample size, but in our midfield, we've looked dire, but how instrumental, I think, for you, Michael, was he in this match?
Oh, he was everything. He was all over the place, like you said, trying to take up positions that he's a total football player by himself. When he sees a hole, he fills it. I really, really appreciated his utility belt type of service on the field. I hope that continues. It requires a lot of energy. It requires a lot of focus, high soccer IQ. Really appreciate that about him. And he was able to link up our attack too, not just help out on defense or make the midfield a solid state for us. He was able to go forward. Again, moving all over the field. This guy was a problem for Seattle. And man, I feel like I haven't, Rossetto just isn't a problem a lot of times. Sajic just not a problem. Ibarra is more defensive, so he's not necessarily needing to be the problem, but he's never the problem either. So we finally have some players who are turning up and their problems again. And this is great for us. Looking at how Silva debuted, he was dangerous from the get-go. 25-30 minutes in, the guy was tearing it up. Looked extremely dangerous. It's sad that he didn't get his first goal that game. It was wanting. The goal was craving it. Everything was just right there, lined up multiple times for him. Man, I hope the guy can get back on his horse next game and keep at it. And because the goals will come, I think we have a good squad going forward. Guys willing to make runs now and find passes, and things were clicking. They looked good. Yeah, it tapered off towards the end of the first half. And, that's going to happen some games. Seattle started growing into it. We weren't able to put the game to bed. But you know what? And yeah, like you said, we had some luck. Seattle, for whatever stroke of, what, I don't know what they did to piss off the soccer gods, but they just could not buy a goal for the life of them. So we were able to capitalize, draw them out, score the second, go home happy.
Yeah. Maybe it's it's what they get for winning CCL. It's the last version of CCL, I guess, in that sense too. But no, it is this too. They are in terms of a team that's luck has not been on their side for a good number of the season apparently, and for us, yeah, Shauna Silva, that debut really good. There were some aspects that I'll touch on it in a second here, but yeah, in large parts, he showed some flair. He showed the ability to really make things happen, and he terrorized that left side. It was just that final ball that's ultimately didn't really bear fruit, I guess, in the large part. But I think there's this though. Shauna Silva looks very exciting. There is a worry for me about, and it's just the smallest sample size, but just noticing that his ball striking, not spectacular. It is a little under hit a lot of times. Yes, the first one was deflected, and so it was right at the keeper. His second one, where he was aiming for the far right corner, a little under hits and just a little easy for Fry, but so it's something to keep an eye on, as he's been bandied as a player that can play across the front line as a striker sometimes. If he's going to play as a striker, I'm going to hope that he can strike the ball a little cleaner and a little bit more authority than he did. But yeah, someone that did strike it with very good authority, Giorgos Giakoumakis, and wow, the first goal, just talking through that, man, that run of play where Lennon, he just the hustle to get on the end of that ball over the top, and he was able to win it, and not only win the corner, in which, he smartly played it off of the defender to win it for the corner, but he as well put in a very good ball. And Giakoumakis did exactly what he does. I mean, just a unit in the box, and I mean, he's that target. He's that target when you're crossing it in there, and bullet header where Fry had a hand on it, couldn't do shit about it. But that goal, I mean, in terms of any of your thoughts on that goal as I take a sip, because I'm a little under the weather, but
yeah, I mean, Yako makes no mistake twice this game with his headers. The first one, great. Like you said, Fry got a hand on it, but it was just so well taken. Second one, I think Fry just had no chance because it was hit off the ground and skidded, directed downward at such pace. He just couldn't do anything about it. I mean, the guy is clinical and deadly with headers. So I get it. I get why they're we need fast wingers, feed in crosses to our monster in the middle. I get that. I see that's kind of what they were envisioning from the start. I was always trying to say we need goal scoring threats also on the wings, not just guys who just lobbing crosses all day. Because I was always afraid. I was still afraid of the Joseph years when all the other team had to do was put 12 guys on Joseph and he'd be an island by himself. Yeah, he can lob in crosses all day, but he ain't gonna get to a lot of those. So I'm a little bit weary, but I mean, Yako really just goes, I don't care about what you do. I'm still gonna score that goal. So that's great. That's awesome. I still, despite Silva not scoring in this game, I thought he has the potential to be a goal scoring threat as well. And perhaps when Saba comes, I think he might be as well. That's looking good. Our attacking prowess is looking really great. I mean, we haven't had, I love Joseph's headers. They were so just athletic, but his is just so powerful, Yako. So it's exciting to watch. It's exciting to see us, have the possession down the side and win a corner now. I mean, we've been doing it for a little bit while now. I remember, Air Force One comes to mind a little while ago, but we're exciting now when we get a corner or obviously set pieces because of Thiago Almada, but now it's the corners too. So it's exciting.
Yeah. And it's such a departure from kind of the first and second seasons where, from corners, we always played it short, and we didn't score very many from those. We were always weary of the counter. And I mean, lately, at least under Gonzalo Pineda, we look very deadly on set pieces, especially with Thiago Almada, of course, like you're saying. And so, we have targets. We have guys who can, I think, make it really a problem for the opposing team to deal with. And we have some giants on this. We have some units in the squad, and we're utilizing it. So it is something very good. And to speak on that goal, the second goal as well, where Thiago Almada was able to find a ridiculous amount of space where Seattle probably just kept backing off, and Almada just was able to find a ghosting into space Giakoumakis at the back post, and that's kind of what you need. I mean, that connection staying strong. Almada, Giakoumakis, they love finding each other, and Giakoumakis knows what to do with it. Which one was your favorite?
Probably the second one, because it's just such a smart one. Such a smart one to head it down and right past. Fry maybe could have gotten something on it if it was somewhere else, but straight down like that just throws him off, and it was just smartly taken.
Oh yeah, fully agreed. And to your other point as well, where the tactics seem to be where, at least for Mosquera to come on, or not come on, but start at right winger, was to probably feed Giakoumakis. And it is, Mosquera, his performance, a little divisive, I would say, where, you're looking for better decision making. You see some good things with him in terms of his pace, in terms of going at his man, and at times, getting a good ball in. But that final ball from Mosquera, it's a little wanting. But what do you see from Mosquera on the right?
Yeah, I'm not sold on Mosquera. I mean, in general, his past performances with us and with previous clubs and on his loan haven't been something to write home about for me. So I wasn't expecting much, and I think we're not seeing much. I think we're probably going to hopefully, if the world will allow us, move on from him. In the future. I don't think he sticks around too long. However, while he's here, I fully intend and hope that he does well. I want everyone on the land to do well, and he is no different. And he has the potential to do well within a system, within a team that's very good. And it looks like we're turning a bit of a corner into a good team. I'm not going to say that's a definite thing yet, or we're going to be great, but we have some really strong pieces going forward. And you know what, Mosquera, if he may not be the best at what he does, but if he just keeps going at it, keeps throwing it in cross, keeps dribbling, he this game messed up a good amount of times, but like you'll eventually something will hit, something will click, and the goals will come. So like, do I think he's here for the long haul? No, but like, while he's here, I think he can do some damage, especially just with his speed alone to open up teams on the back end. I really think that is an important part of our game, stretching the other team, and he's excellent at doing that. I mean, he really makes other teams kind of crap their pants when they see how quick he is running down the side, and then they just try and get back, and all of a sudden they're split out, and then it's that cut back pass, man. That's what's gonna kill people. So there was one specifically in this game. Mosquera had a perfect cutback pass. If he lifted his head up and see Almada running in wide open space into the box, he could have easy blasted that in. But he didn't look up, didn't pass the ball back in time, and nothing happened from it. But I hope they saw that and they're like, we need to do more of that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's got oodles of pace. It's picking up his head and looking around when you're on the ball, which, to be fair, I mean, that's kind of the issue with a lot of pacey players is that, they won't always be looking for other players. They'll, pretty much try to find something for themselves first, maybe, and then, maybe put a blind cross in, that type of thing. But I mean, his shot there as well when he blasted over the bar. It's just, there are a good number of things where I was just like, oh man, it's the weak link on the 11 for sure. It's the one name that you're like, not so sure about him, but like you're saying as well, like I hope he does well when he's playing with us. And it's a wonder though, like, is he here for the long haul? I have my doubts as well. But getting further into the match, I mean, 2-0. Obviously we were sitting a bit pretty, but we did still have some to do. I mean, a lot of the team still, in terms of Muyumba, in terms of some of the new players as well, they were taken off. We had to manage this game a little bit still. Like Montero for Seattle, he was looking a little bit dangerous, just not very clinical, unfortunately for them. But he had a couple of chances that they probably honestly should have buried. Rui Diaz had a chance as well that's had me sweating a little bit too. It could have been a different game if they had scored and if we didn't put our goals in the back of the net. And it's just one of those where it could have been a different type of night where instead of where we get, I think this might be back-to-back wins on the road. But if it's not, either way, we've won one last month and won one this month, and on the road. And before that, we were anemic. We were 22 games without a win on the road. So it's much better. We'll take the result every single time, but ultimately, yeah, we want to see this carried into a full match, for one, and then into the next match. So it's encouraging. It's on a level where there's exciting play that's, oh man, like it got us off our seat, I would say. I mean, no doubt. And yeah, I mean, as well, Brooks Lennon playing in different areas than he's normally used to, I would say, because when you think of Lennon, you know, he's bombing down the right wing, he's going to the byline, he's you know, he's crossing endlessly. I think you saw a different style where he was taking up different spaces on the pitch, and he was playing a little bit more infield, playing more kind of as a midfielder, as a like defensive midfielder at times, allowing Mosquera to be on the right wing and playing balls through. I think we saw some dynamic from Lennon that, man, I mean, I'm encouraged. It's something that I'm excited to see if he can take his game to another level here, because if he can start doing some Julian Gressel like early balls, if he could start, you know, maybe some through balls from deep a little bit more, I think we could see Brooks Lennon hit something that is very, very exciting. But what were your thoughts on Lennon?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's exploring a little bit more space that Mosquera affords him on the pitch, and I think that makes him more dynamic and interesting, and it makes defenders have to kind of scratch their heads a little bit more when going up against him, because he's not just the one-trick pony, typically, where he just runs down and tries to lob it across, because when he tries to cut back, it usually doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, I really like what he's doing there. Again, it kind of comes at like a give and take, in that you have Mosquera on the right wing, who's been, like, occasionally he's been all right, but it's for the most part ineffectual. So while you do have Lennon exploring more space and being more dynamic, you now have Mosquera trying to make up for, you know, the duty of getting those crosses and running down the side. And yes, while he does the runs very well, doesn't pick his head up, doesn't look around. Brooks at least had that. So it's a give and take. I think we're probably better for it, because, again, you know, Brooks is good at stretching their back line too, but I think Mosquera is probably a little bit better. And I think Brooks can be more of a utility in doing this new type of thing that he's doing.
Yeah, and it's very in vogue, obviously, right now with some of the top teams in Europe, inverting your fullbacks a little bit, and kind of getting some numerical superiority in midfield, in which case, yeah, there's a great need for us in that, in shielding our back line, and a lot of kind of the issues born out of not connecting our lines. Yeah, I think there's something that was really, really just something different than we've been used to seeing all season. So very good stuff that I can't wait to see more. But yeah, Lennon's assist was his 24th regular season assist for the club, and that tied Tito Villalba's Tito Villalba for the third most by an Atl Utd player in the club's history. So definitely really cool stuff there. Caleb Wiley, this was also his 50th game for Atl Utd in all competitions, and he's the second homegrown player to hit that mark after George Bello. And yeah, I mean, it's possible he could equal that in this season, pretty much. So, but in terms of this match, you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, the narrative is going to be, and we are kind of burying the lead a little bit earlier. The narrative is going to be connecting this game to next weekend's game against Nashville. Is that what did we learn from this? Is this an Atlanta United who has taken a turn for the better, or is this, like you kind of alluded to, fool's gold? Right? Seattle having their own struggles. We took advantage of that. It could have easily have been a different story, because let's talk about how Yako and a couple others, Silva, they had a bunch of chances missed. That Yako goal at 11, I think it was 11 minutes, could have been another one of those misses very easily. And if that happened, we're at 0. Seattle goes into the game. They score one because now they aren't drawn out because they're now chasing the game. They can play their game like they were from the beginning. And at, a new resurged Seattle coming at us when we started to fade away towards the end of the first half, they could have easily put one of those chances away throughout the game that for whatever reason they missed so many of them. That we're very fortunate that they did. And all of a sudden you're looking at a 1-0. We're chasing the game. And then very easy for Seattle to put a second one by us because we're now stretched thin. So I feel like, we'll see. The next game will be the litmus test to say, okay, was that kind of fluky or was there something really here? I think it's a bit of both. And I'm interested to see to what degree it's one or the other.
Yep. I think your cat agrees because, if anybody else can hear the meowing, it's very
That's
adorable.
why we have sound gates, and I guess it still comes through. It's
all good. It's all good. It's the most adorable type of distraction. But anyway, yeah, that's the match. That's the review, and Atl United will be playing Nashville SC, like aforementioned. Later on this week, it will be on Saturday, and we'll have that preview in this episode. So stick around for that. But before we get into that, let's get into the news. And Atl United, they're about to unveil the third kit. It's the Atl kit. We talked about it last episode, but in terms of the, there's some allusions, obviously, to not only the South with Southern hip hop, Outkast, Goody Mob, pretty much Cabbage Town as well with graffiti. It'll be very interesting to see how the reception is. So far, the reception isn't great. We will see how large a part the fans take to it. I love Outkast, as many of you know. I'm probably still going to get this kit. I haven't gotten a kit, actually, I mean, to be honest, in some time. But it's one of those, man, I don't know. Speaking of divisive, it's divisive. But what are your thoughts on this, Mike?
I mean, I like Outkast too. I like what they attempted to do with the kit. Appreciate it. Thought they had some good ideas. Execution maybe not have been perfect, but I mean, I think it's a good attempt. It's fine. I think it's fine. I think I might get it. I'm still undecided. I'm not in love with it or anything like that, but like I think it's fine. So yeah.
Not a glowing assessment, obviously, but it is. It's like, yeah, like it's dope enough to a degree of like it represents Atlanta. And if you have seen the Atlians album cover, it's reminiscent of that. It's the execution is, I think, the main part here, where you saw that graffiti of the Atl Utd on the Cabbage Town walls, and you were hoping, oh yeah, okay, this could be cool. There's some different things that they might do. It's literally just the Atl Utd symbol or the graffiti on the kit several times.
In bubble letters, right?
In bubble letters. It's like, okay. I mean, yeah, but it's our kit. It's Outcast, I mean, I'm torn. I'm so torn, man. But it is what it is. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm probably gonna get it.
It's fun. It's fun. It's a
It's
fun
fun.
kit.
Yep.
You know?
It's like in terms of loud kits, like the what was it called exactly? But the ones with the flowers, that was like pretty much a rainbow. It was the Pride kit. Yeah. That one's louder than this one, to be fair. But yeah, the design was a little bit more intricate, and I think that's the rub here, is that you were hoping just a little bit more for something more, something more. I think, period. Yeah. But anyway, we'll move on from that into where Giorgos Giakoumakis, he not only made the team of the week, or team of the match day as it's being called now, where also Tristan Muyumba and Gonzalo Pineda made that squad. But yeah, he made that 11, but he also got the player of the match day, which was very well deserved. I mean, yeah, 2 goals that were also very, very good, highest quality in terms of headers. Yeah, it's something that Giakoumakis, he's just a guy that's, I mean, not only this, like he is one of 3 players, I think it's a record for a season, apparently, of being player of the match day, at least for Atl Utd. So 3 players that have made the player of the match day. Unfortunately, that hasn't translated into our record into a shining, top of the league. But we'll take all the plaudits possible. But as well, there was a number change for Thiago Almada. You may have noticed he is now number 10. He joins the likes of Miguel Almiron, of course, Pete Martinez, and yeah, I mean, it's hopefully he will, I think it shows maybe a letter or number of intent that he will be staying for the rest of the season, because there have been rumors abound. But yeah, I mean, anytime there's a number change mid-season, you think that player's probably going to stay. But what are your thoughts on our new number 10?
It's curious to me, in a good way, because I think when you heard it, you heard that Almada was surprised with the 10, the change, and that's interesting to me, because it's like, okay, he didn't ask for it and he was given it. I think what this entails is that the club is now asking him to assume a leadership role, because the 10 traditionally is a player like that. And I mean, that is an area where he can develop more. Like, obviously he's great already, in terms of his ability. Of course he can improve, blah blah blah, but he's really good. And where I think he can do better is like learning how to be, like a commander, and to lead his players and things like that, because I think that that's a trait that'll do him well when he moves on. So I think that the club kind of pushing him into that is a very good sign. And God knows, I mean, we've said this multiple times in multiple episodes and live streams, the team needs more leadership. They desperately need it, and I think it's coming. And I think we're seeing more like charisma players, more confidence players, more people who can just kind of pick people up who are feeling down and get them right back up and going again. So I'm excited to see how he develops in terms of donning the number 10.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. I mean, that's something that he will need to develop. Obviously, still a very young player, but as well optics. I think this is probably something, maybe a reason why he was given it too. Historically, obviously, the best players on the team wear the number 10. Luis Araujo, maybe aside. Marcelino Moreno, that's a dig, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I think we all know Luis Araujo in the number 10 shirt didn't exactly show him the most, but in terms of Marcelino Moreno, of course, he also wore that kit or that number as well. But if you're a scout on another side, yeah, you're gonna look at who's their number 10. It's gonna catch your eye, and so it's one of these things. Like if you haven't heard of Thiago Almada and you're a European scout for a top team, which he's been linked to Man City. Like I'm sure most teams know of Thiago Almada at this point, but I think it'll catch their eye even more. They'll be drawn to what he can do, and maybe it can up the fee, just like by a couple mil. So it's something that I think it's a smart thing to do, and especially if the rumors are true that he didn't ask for the number. But anyway, speaking of former, I guess at least players that played in the 10 position, Ezequiel Barco, he, of course, playing very well for River Plate, just helped them win a title. But he has been linked with Feyenoord, and if he is sold, there will be a sell-on fee for Atl Utd to Coop. So really, really interesting there if he is sold to Europe. But and on the other flip side, another former number 10, at least, Pity Martinez, of course, of Al Nassr, where we sold him to, might be going back to River Plate. And so a lot of musical chairs going on. Really fascinating. It's just like Barco playing well, Peter Martinez. In Saudi Arabia, it's a whole different animal now, obviously, with Ronaldo there, with Sadio Mane, with just the ridiculous amount of players that are going to Saudi. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating, the level of players that are going to move over there. But
I still can't get over how Joseph Martinez is playing with Messi and PT was playing with Ronaldo.
It's not even 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's 1 degree.
Wow.
It's 1 freaking degree where they're, inarguably, 2 of the best players to ever play on the planet. But moving on from that, apparently during the transfer window, according to Vene Casagrande, Atl Utd, they made an offer for Vasco da Gama midfielder Gabriel Peck, and it was turned down by Vasco, who believes Gabriel is a main piece for the squad for the remainder of the season. But definitely interesting that they went all over the planet a little bit, which might go against a little bit of kind of where we look like we were shopping in Ligue 2 more so than anything. But you know what? It's all those. It's the rumors that don't happen that are always as fascinating too. But another rumor that. It's a goalkeeper that is doing well, but former Maccabi Haifa and Sacramento Republic goalkeeper Josh Cohen, he apparently his MLS rights are held by Atl Utd, the discovery rights, I'm sure, but there's a recent offer on the table, but at the present, he maybe feels like he can do better in Europe, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, but maybe a secession plan for Brad Guzan, of course. But definitely encouraging, actually, to see that a goalkeeper was being targeted. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it shows a little bit of long-range thinking, and that's what we're expecting with Garth being at the helm now. We're seeing a lot of these kind of like plans that are going to unfold over the course of a couple, maybe even a few, 3-4 seasons. And that's something that I feel is very refreshing, because I feel like we haven't had that so much, as it always kind of seemed like we were trying to turn a buck on really hyper talented players and not looking for this kind of like dynasty building project that Seattle was interested in for the longest time, and they've seen a lot of great success with it. And now Garth is here trying to recreate the model. So hopefully, this is part of that. I mean, you got to have a good goalkeeper. Brad is on his way out eventually. I don't know when, but you got to have succession. And so I think that this is a really good and very kind of on brand for Garth to be thinking along these lines.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's succession. I think I misspoke there. Secession is definitely something different completely. But but anyway, let's move on from that. And Giorgos Giakoumakis apparently is getting some interest from Europe. That's according to Tom Bogert. And yeah, there's apparently not an offer yet, but it could change. I mean, the European transfer window still is open, and but apparently Atl Utd have no interest in a sale for Giakoumakis, and that the player is happy in his debut season. I think a lot of us are vehemently saying no. Injury record aside, he's a player that obviously has been killing it for us, and with that kind of dynasty building that you were just saying, he's a player that I'm sure is a big part of the plans, because a player in his prime, a player that has the ability and has shown the ability in this league, yeah, that's not something that we're gonna give away cheaply. But yeah, you have thoughts on if Giorgos Giakoumakis should be sold this winter?
He shouldn't be. I don't think there's any real danger of him being sold. I think when they say interest, I think that it's probably clubs that are looking to see if they can get someone on a deal or for cheap, and that's not going to happen with Giorgos, because yeah, we got him for not that much money comparatively. And if they offer like something like 10 or so, whatever, we'd make a good amount of money on that guy, but no, it's not going to happen. Everyone can kind of relax. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it would.
They're not serious interest.
Right, exactly. It would unsettle the side a lot, and it's kind of where we're building, at least part of the team around Giakoumakis. So yeah, I see it very hard to move this guy who just came in as well. So yeah, not probably going to happen. But speaking of someone that is about to come in, Saba Labzanidze, he has his visa and he's expected to arrive in Atlanta early next week, apparently, and that's this week apparently. And Jamal Tiare still waiting on his paperwork. So yeah, we'll see if that does happen. But yeah, well, actually, early next week actually means this early next week, so not actually this week. But so yeah, we will see when he actually can come in. Unfortunately, that puts him out at pretty much about 3 or 4 weeks when we actually announced him, and that is troubling. How long it actually took to get this process going. He's one of our DP players, and of course, there's the rumor that he will be bought down. But does that worry you that it took this long to make this happen?
I mean, not really. I think there's more of just a conversation about different, countries, visas, the timelines that they have. They're not all the same, and they have their own, troubles and complications, depending where you're trying to get a visa from. So, I think that's probably more what that is. So I don't know. I'm not really concerned about it. I hope he's here for the next game. That's all I care about, really. And getting enough, time to acclimate a little bit before hopefully maybe he could play against Nashville. So that's what I'm really kind of focused on.
Yeah. Because it is the business end of the season. 9 games left. It will probably be 8 games before he can actually probably take part. There's not a ton of time for him to acclimate. So, yeah, it is going to remain to be seen. And Jamal Tiare still as well, that same deal. So, yeah, it might be into the 6-5 game mark before Tiare can get into the squad. But
yeah, just cannot get injured then.
Exactly. We'll just have to rely on Miguel Berry. Oh, dear. But Exactly. But anyway, moving on from that, Tyrone Mears, a name that you may not have heard in quite some time, but our 2017 right back, who unfortunately also lost his job as a right back, but he got a job as Tata Martino's staff on Inter Miami. And so that, according to Felipe Cardenas, he was at training, and yeah, I mean, he, part of the staff, helped them win League's Cup. And so congrats to not only Tyrone Mears, but Tata Martino and Joseph Martinez. During that post-match press conference, you can see a little bit of that love from Joseph Martinez, pretty much bullying Tata Martino with the champagne showers, and putting his arm around him so he couldn't leave when he was at the podium. And I mean, shit, it's scenes that I wish we were part of. I wish it was our team, but to see those guys enjoy.
One day we'll win League's Cup.
Exactly. But, to see those guys enjoy, it did warm a place in my cold, cold heart for Inter Miami. But, basically as well, last bit of news. Atl Utd, they lost 4-2, unfortunately, against the New York Red Bulls 2. And, not a great run of form lately, unfortunately, for them. It's been a very dire run of results, but hopefully they can start turning around. And but it's always been about development for that for Atl Utd, but hopefully some results as well to go along with all that. But so that is the news, and let's get into the match preview. And as mentioned before, we will be playing Nashville SC on Saturday at the Benz. They currently reside in 6th in the Eastern Conference. We're 7th. Our last 6 against them, the record has been where there's 3 draws, and there has been 3 losses against Nashville. Not the best form, unfortunately. And, of course, we also lost in April at Geodis Park 3-1, where Hani Mukhtar tore us a new one. That was not fun. That was, I'm fearful of this match because of Hani Mukhtar. And let's be real. I mean, outside of Lionel Messi, probably 2 or 3 of one of the most dangerous players in the league. I mean, he pretty much carries their attack. And it's something that absolutely we'll have to look out for. But part of their problem as well is that not every one of their DPs is hitting. Of course, one of their other DPs is Walker Zimmerman as well. But they have lost as well in the offseason Dave Romney and Ake Loba. But Fafa Picault, he's been I think a very good player for them. That's is someone that we will have to look out for. And as well, Walker Zimmerman, he's joined in defense by Nick Dupuy. So I mean, their side that of course was in the League's Cup final, they arguably in the game played better than Inter Miami, but it was ultimately they were undone in penalties at the very last kick, where their goalkeeper, very bad penalty. Let's just be real. But I mean, a very thrilling shootout if you like those. Not everyone loves those. And so, in terms of for the pundits and their predictions for this team, it's kind of interesting. Basically, they have them as high as 4th and as low as 12th in the East. Now, obviously, they're in 6th right now, and they're in a playoff spot. I would expect them to probably do pretty well in the playoffs, actually. as well as they have in Leagues Cup. They're a cup team. They're a team built for those short run type of competitions where you can play more defensively and you have a player that can create some moments of magic and really put you to the sword. So yeah, I think if and when they make the playoffs, they will be a tough out. So but in terms of against us in this match, I mean, yeah, if you saw us on the 5 Takes on the 5 Stripes podcast, we go pretty in depth on our thoughts on pretty much what we need to happen. But I'll reiterate here a little bit. My thoughts are essentially that it's a very much a must-win for us on Saturday, because not a lot of fans, I would surmise, stayed up late to watch that Seattle Sounders match till the end anyway. And if you did, it was probably a little bit of a struggle. I mean, a lot of people's bedtimes, it was past for them. But yeah, it's something that's, to regain that casual fan base back, to want to watch a game like that's on the West Coast, MLS After Dark, all of that. Yeah, well, you need to show up on that type of match at the Benz, where you put in not only a good performance, but also get a good result against a very good team in Nashville SC. That's how you gain the fervor of those casual fans that's pretty much, let's be real, have left the stadium and probably have stopped watching a bit of the games. So it's something that's, I think, is important. It's a factor. And, I think if you look at X or Twitter, the number of, I guess, followers that they've lost, we were the first team to, hit over 1 million followers, but we're still now languishing at like 995 languishing. But yeah, it's something that is very fascinating. I think has and will play a part. The optics are very, very important here. We need to be able to follow up this great performance in the first 30 minutes at least against Seattle Sounders and translate that into a full performance and result. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I said earlier, this is going to be the litmus test, whether or not what we did in Seattle can translate to, our future and games going forward and hopefully results. I think, this is going to be a tough ask. Yeah, Nashville had just lost kind of heartbreakingly against Miami. But, they did pretty well against a tremendously stacked team, which we are not. So that is a bit of a worry. It could be that, they are off their game because of that heartbreaking loss. It remains to be seen if that will, if they are emotionally affected by this. There's a good amount of veteran players that are quite shrewd and mentally stable in their minds, and I would imagine they will be able to get picked right back up and get going after a loss like that. So I'm talking about Hani Mukhtar, I'm talking about Zimmerman at least. And those are the two danger men, which, you always have to look out for them. They're almost always good for a goal. Well, specifically Hani. So I'm worried about that. I think we have some firepower, and it really, if we can score like we did in the last game, this is going to be kind of a heavy hitter, high scoring game, and I think it'll be exciting to watch. And hopefully it'll be, like you're saying, something that the fans will be treated to.
And hopefully so. But yeah, so let's get into our predictions then. So the starting 11, let's go through the 11 together. Guzan obviously between the sticks, although you have heard some chatter about maybe somebody else possibly needing to start. But
yeah. Yeah, I mean, not for this game, I would say, but I would say that I'm saying I've heard people talk about, well, if you're going up against a team that is that's known for their long range, good shots on goal, perhaps a goalie like Guzan is not the best at shot stopping from distance. He is known to be caught flat-footed. Perhaps a decent shot stopper like Diop could, in a pinch, solve a problem like that going up against a team that has like some snipers on them. I don't think Nashville is that team. I think Hani and Zimmerman score on you in different ways, and Staffelberg, whatever his name is, but I don't think he's playing. So I don't think that that's the concern. But still kind of an interesting way of thinking about how we can deploy our different goalkeepers.
Yeah. And it's interesting as a thought experiment, but I think ultimately the experience of Brad Guzan, the command in the box, which is very important, and the leadership that he brings, plus he's our team captain, he's undroppable, unfortunately, until he moves on from the five stripes, unless he just really... plays so poorly that a run of form is, just it's so bad. But so it's Brad Guzan between the sticks. I think that one's the most obvious one. But into the back line, do you think we're going to play with a 4-man, or are we going to?
I think we're going to go. We're going to go with what worked.
Yeah. So not much might change. But, Lennon and Wiley as the fullbacks for me. Same for you?
Yeah. I mean, like, I wish Hernandez could be more of a, someone to give Lennon a break once in a while. Maybe he could be a sub, but that's a kind of like a strategically a loser to unnecessarily sub, a fullback like that. So, yeah, it'll probably be Lennon. I just wish like Hernandez could be called upon more often.
Yeah, and it could be interesting if Hernandez started at right back and then Lennon started at right wing. Very well could be. But with Aidan McFadden now with Memphis 901, well, the fullback depth is pretty short. So Hernandez being able to play both sides in terms of as an outside back, then I don't think there's going to be probably the usage of Lennon, especially with all the other wingers that we brought in. So, I think it persists as that. The center back pairing, Miles Robinson, Luis Abram. I think that probably is going to persist too, yeah? You?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then into midfield, Muyumba, of course, I think is going to be the starter.
Gotta be.
No doubt there. But the man next to him, that is the question. Are you going to persist with Josetu?
I wouldn't, but I think Gonzo will. So
yeah.
I think he'll pick Rossetto again because he didn't have a glaringly bad game, and I'll be remiss to just not mention in the game against Seattle, Rossetto had the ball, progressed it by himself up into the attacking half. The defense didn't pressure him, didn't come at him, respected him, and allowed him to take like 2 hits. And I thought for a second that I was taking crazy pills. Maybe, oh man, he's learning. He's actually going to progress the ball. He's going to go forward. He's going to join the attack. No, he like almost backheels it. He stops, puts it backwards. Very little pressure on him, and he does that. That blew my mind. I was like, come on, man. I thought we were making some progress here. Like, we were turning a corner, and nope, he's just like right back to, completely unpressured, but he's still that was rough to watch.
Yeah, it's something that's it's very frustrating. He's just so negative with the ball, but it is that. I mean, he can keep it ticking and defensive for us if we're trying to keep possession, but I think we need something different a little bit in this match. We need somebody that, we need a couple of guys to bring that steal, and I think Amar Sejdic is that man. Mind and heart are saying different things, obviously, because mine says that, like what you said, Musetu is going to start again. But Sejdic, I feel like, should be the guy that starts next to Tristan Muyumba. Yeah, a guy that can, I think, bring a little bit more defensively, in which case, yeah, we need somebody to track Hani Mukhtar as well as Muyumba. And so, asking Muyumba to do all of that is maybe a lot. So I think that's the pairing for me. Into the wings. Let's start on the left. Sean Da Silva gets that start again. Yep. On the right, though, would you persist with Mosquera?
God, no. And if Saba's available, that's who's going there.
Yeah. And that's the big question. So if it's not, Mosquera probably is the guy again.
Or it could be Derek Etienne.
Yes, you have that, or you also have Machop Chol as well, or Tyler Wolf. I mean, yeah. Now all of a sudden we're flush with options. Now it's kind of picking from not the best crop of end product, unfortunately, but I think, he's probably going to persist with Mosquera because, it's the winning 11, and so it's probably not going to change too much. And the other two probably are the easiest ones to pick after this. So Thiago Almada, Giorgos Giakoumakis in the 10 and the 9 position, obviously.
If they're healthy, they're going to play.
Exactly. And, our two DPs, they have to. I think we are reliant on them, and we need them to perform and deliver for us. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below what that starting 11 should look like. But let's get into the score prediction then. What do you think is going to happen?
I think, like I said earlier, Nashville's good for at least a goal. I think Hani Mukhtar scores. Hard to keep him off the score sheet. I think possibly, I think there's a decent chance that Nashville tries to get a set piece, corner or something, and Zimmerman gets a header in. It's a good chance. I think they score 2, but I also think it's a decent chance that we score 2 at home with Thiago a free kick and Yako some kind of crazy mix up in the box where he just bashes it in.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the most common score lines for Atl United this season and of yesteryear. 2-2. It's not a bad shout. I also have it as the same. And if I were a betting man, it's probably going to be that or a loss.
I will say, I'll add one more thing, that the difference maker in this game, I believe, is going to be, because I think there's going to be goals on both sides.
Yeah.
The difference maker is going to be who steps up outside of the guys you already know who are primed to score. And I'm talking about Silva. I'm talking about Saba if he plays. I'm talking about maybe even Muyumba, or players that have a nose for goal, who can make a difference and maybe haven't yet. I'm not sure who exactly they are on Nashville, but those are the ones in Atlanta. And if they step up and they make a difference, that'll be the difference. That'll be a 3-2. That'll be a 2-1. That'll be a victory for us.
Right. Yeah. The 3-11 and more, really. The squad players too. They have to step up. They have to, I think, make a statement and kind of make a point that, hey, there's not just these two DPs that are world beaters for us. We need to, do something about it and show why we deserve to be in a higher playoff spot than we are at the moment, and possibly get a home playoff spot. And so, very important for the squad, and especially important if we are to get the 3 points. So, what do you guys think? Also, let us know in those comments below. But that pretty much is the episode, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, which of the new signings will make the most impact in your opinion? Very curious. I mean, what do you think?
I think Saba. Just because of his billing, but
Sure.
I kind of want Silva to just I really wanted him to get a debut goal. It hurt watching it not happen for him because I feel like he took it a bit to heart. So I hope he comes out hungry this game, and I hope he bangs one in, and I hope he starts making me think maybe he's going to be the difference maker instead of Saba. But if Saba has to step up and do it, I think I would be partial to that too.
Okay. I mean, yeah, porque no los dos, but yeah, it is. I think if you were a betting man, I mean, yeah, it's probably correct, Saba. But Silva, him being a former Prem player, albeit he didn't play that many games in the Prem, but yeah, that type of level, and him being on loan, I mean, it's a kind of a a little bit of a kind of a hidden gem type of thing that's possibly we might be able to uncover. Who knows? But also let us know in that comment section. Really looking forward to what you have to say. But guys, that is the episode there and there. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I've been AJ. That's been Michael. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.